Hi everybody. In this problem, they give us this capital F of x is equal to this function, lower limit 2, upper limit sine 6x, f of x dx. What is f prime of x? What's the derivative of that? So you go, oh, gee, I can use that fundamental theorem of calculus that we learned, and I can just, well, look kind of looks like it fits in, right? But there is a problem. What's the problem? For the fundamental theorem of calculus, the upper limit on the integration has to be just plain x. This isn't just plain x. It's sine of 6x. So there's our problem. So what do we got to do? We have to use substitution in the chain rule that we learned about in Calculus 1. So what the heck is the chain rule? If you remember, if we did df dx, because that's what we want to find, that's what f prime of x is, right? It's equal to df du times du dx. That was our chain rule. So basically we have to use the substitution, and what's our substitution going to be? We're going to set that upper limit equal to just plain u. Okay, so that's what we're going to use. Can you tell me what du dx is then from that? Du dx, so the derivative of this with respect to x is, if you remember, it's just 6 positive cosine 6x. Okay, so now we can go back to our function, and I'm going to just call it f for now. And instead of a sine 6x, I'm going to put a u. There's still a 2 there. We still got an f of x there. Okay. So how do we find, let's see, we have to find df du. We already know du dx to use a chain rule. We have that. We got to find this. So df du is equal to the derivative of that with respect to u. And now you look at it and you go, that kind of fits into that fundamental theorem of calculus. I have a u as an upper limit. That's what I'm integrating with regards to, or differentiating, sorry. So I think at this point we can just use the fundamental theorem of calculus, and that's just going to be equal to f of u, right? By using that fundamental theorem of calculus. So now if we go back to our chain rule, so df dx is equal to, I'll just write it again, df du times du dx. So we have, now we just have to plug in df du is f of u, and du dx is 6 cosine of 6x. And the last thing you got to do is just substitute your u back. So df dx, which is equal to f prime x, which is what they asked for, is equal to f of, instead of a u there, you substitute in with what u was. It was f of sine of 6x times 6 cosine 6x. Okay, so it's kind of confusing, but you do have to use the chain rule because you didn't have just a plain x as your upper limit of integration, and then you had to use the fundamental theorem of calculus to find the df du, and then you had to go back to your chain rule, plug everything back in, and get your final answer. So it looks really confusing, but it's not too bad if you take it step by step. So I hope that helps.